Good morning and welcome to the Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We people are always anxious and in a bid to overcome the anxiety which degenerates into depression, we go to the doctors. We take medication. We take antidepressants. We take calming potions. We also indulge in meditation and mindfulness to get rid of anxiety. The anxiety can be real or imagined. But here is something curious. Are you aware of the Iceman, Wim Hof, who could remain submerged in ice water for long periods without any trouble? Think of the Buddhist monks who can calmly withstand being draped in freezing towels. Look at the old Indian rishis who used to stay in the Himalayas just with a loincloth, and the cold would not do anything to them. They could resist the extremes of temperature. And we common people normally tend to believe these people to be superhuman or special in some ways. If they really are superhuman, then their performances are simply entertaining but irrelevant bodily facts. And if they're not freaks, it shows that they have trained their brains and the bodies with self-modification techniques. And that gives them the cold resistance. Can anybody do the same? Yes. According to the neuroscientists, chilly temperatures when you're exposed to them help you fight anxiety, overcome depression. The colder the situation, the climate is, and you're facing it, you're exposed to it, you can achieve the peace of mind and immunity to the vagaries of anxiety. These two neuroscientists studied how brain responds to the extremes of cold. And this kind of a superpower with the yogis and the Buddhists or this Iceman Wim Hof have result from systematic practicing techniques that modify your brain and your body. And these modifications are relevant for behavioral and mental health. We are aware that the body drives for balance. And the behavioral modification techniques, whether it's mindfulness or yoga, seek to modulate physiological equilibrium. Scientists have a term for this: homeostasis. Homeostasis is a basic survival need and is crucial for an organism's physical integrity. And this homeostasis enables you to be exposed to the chilly temperature, and automatically that chilly temperature transforms your brain into a fighting machine to overcome the depression, the blues, and the anxieties and the worries. When you are exposed to cold, certain brain centers initiate changes in how the body responds. And these changes include decreasing the blood flow to the extremities, activating deep layer muscle groups to produce heat. And these changes allow the body to hold on to heat and automatically control the body response to the cold. Homeostasis is maintained when peripheral organs of the body called senses, the data is collected, forwarded to the forwarding center, which is brain, and the brain organizes this data, generating action plan. The blood doesn't go to the extremities, it goes to the brain, it goes to the heart, it goes to maintain your vital organs. And then these organs readjust. And that is why, if you remember, in the Indian mythology or in Indian philosophy, the yogis, the rishis, could sustain themselves going hungry for days together, be immersed in the cold water, be exposed to the fire. Now, when you're exposed to the fire and the heat, the brain functions in a different way. So, while exposed to the cold, it produces dopamine, serotonin, which help to calm you down. So, the balance is the bottom up of physiological mechanism and the top down psychological mechanism. Basically, the result is the same as that of meditation, as that of mindfulness. And our idea is that this balance between physiology and psychology can be hacked by training the brain. You can train your brain and do the needful. The brain systems that maintain homeostasis have a complex hierarchy, and the representation generates emotional responses. First, what's the emotional response? The moment you are in cold, you say, cold is unpleasant. I need to get indoor. That's a trigger action. But when you have changed your mindset, when you have conditioned, cold is making me feel more active. I should go indoor. I should go and take a jog around the park. In human beings, the area in the brain, which is a control center, sends messages about the pain and the body. And now here's the beauty. The pain releases cannabis and opioids, which try to control the pain. So you don't ingest cannabis, you don't eat opioid, but it's produced from the mind, and these also affect your mood and anxiety. So if you are really feeling anxious, the best thing is go and jump into cold water, have a cold shower, and you will feel invigorated both physically and mentally. And this, addition to the knowledge, is extremely helpful, because the fear of the cold water, which most of the moms have, my child will catch cold if he's exposed to the cold air, chilly air, is wrong. Millions of people use drugs to fight depression and anxiety. And these drugs have harmful side effects. But the behavioral modification techniques, which influence the brain's homeostatic system, can provide you with drug-free alternative. Well, I sure am a candidate for this. I have been using mindfulness to control my pain, to bear it. But this fact, though I knew, and most of us know, that the cold shower reinvigorates us. It makes us feel more active. But the fact that the brain responds to us positively helps us get over the anxiety, and the depression is something new, and it widens the horizons of the knowledge. Now, at the same time, since we are talking of the brain functions, the biggest problem that we are facing is loneliness. How can we treat loneliness unless we know what is loneliness? Today, in this segment of the Frontiers of Knowledge, I'll just mention that people think that the loneliness and being alone are the same thing. They are not. Being alone can be something positive. Feeling lonely is something negative. So, give me a couple of. Being lonely is something bad for you, your health, your mental status, both physically and mentally is harmful. Anyway, loneliness is basically of four types. The first variety of loneliness is low loneliness and is characterized by low score, social, emotional, and most of the people, 50% of the people who feel lonely fall in this category. The second class is social loneliness. You are in a crowd, you are in a group of people, and yet in that group you feel lonely. You do not connect. And that is 8.2% of the people. Then they people who are emotionally lonely. Emotional loneliness, about 25% of the people are emotionally lonely. They connect to the people, they laugh with you, they weep with you, but inside they are empty. This is, as a matter of fact, very dangerous. Social, when you are lonely, okay, you can move from one place to another place. When you are lonely as far as the location is concerned, that is possible. But when you are emotionally lonely, that is something worse. And that's why the people go bonkers. And they get people who have command on themselves. They are never emotionally lonely. They connect with the nature. They connect with the trees, with the plants, with the grass, with the earth, with the skies. And that makes them. And the fourth is social and emotional loneliness. This is something really bad because both of them combine, and about 12% of the people are both socially and emotionally lonely. And that is something horrible. That has to be controlled. So when you are lonely, again, when you are alone, you are not lonely. But when you are lonely, you are alone. Don't forget that ever. You may be in a crowd of people. People might think that you are enjoying, and inside you may be drained. And that draining of the emotions makes you feel like a cadaver, a dead body. Physically, you are alive. Mentally, emotionally, you are dead. How to fight loneliness, we'll take up in the segment of Better Thyself one day. But today, the purpose was to define loneliness and to categorize it so that we can understand what afflicts us, what impacts us. Thank you.